Welcome to Twisted Theater, where nightmares breathe and every shadow hides a memory that refuses to fade. Here, we don't just tell stories, we resurrect them. And tonight's resurrection comes from ancient China, from a book of tales written by a man who dared to write down what others feared to speak. He called it Strange Tales from a Chinese studio, but the one we open tonight is more than strange. It's seductive, it's cruel, it's about a demon who wears human skin, soft, perfect, painted like porcelain, to live among us. This is the painted skin. It is said that during the reign of the Ming Dynasty, when scholars roamed the land seeking truth and spirits wandered in search of desire, there lived a young man named Wang Sheng. He was a learned scholar, quiet, humble, and known for his honesty. He had a small house near the temple gates of Pingyang, where the willows swayed and mist lingered long after sunrise. Though respected for his mind, Wang's life was lonely. He prayed for purpose, for companionship, for something to make the silence go away. One gray morning, as he walked the road that curled along the city wall, he saw a girl standing beneath a cypress tree. She was breathtaking, skin pale as rice paper, eyes dark as rain, her robe torn just enough to suggest both fragility and danger. When she saw him, she trembled like a candle in the wind. "Please," she whispered, "they're after me." Wang, being soft of heart, brought her home. She said her name was Mei. She claimed she had escaped a cruel master, a merchant who wanted to sell her to soldiers. Wang believed her. He gave her food, shelter, and a small room to rest in. From that night onward, she stayed. She spoke little, ate even less, and yet somehow filled the house with her presence, the faint scent of lotus flowers following her every move. Her beauty was so perfect, it hurt to look at her for too long. Her skin seemed to glow faintly in candlelight, and her face never changed, not even once, not even when she laughed. At first, he thought it was a blessing. The neighbors began to whisper that Wang had taken in a goddess. He smiled and said nothing, but a strange unease settled in his chest. Sometimes he would wake in the night to the sound of movement, a soft scraping, a slow, wet rhythm from the room next to his. One night, unable to bear the curiosity, he rose quietly and looked through a crack in the door. Inside, under the pale light of a single candle, May sat before a mirror. He saw her lift her hand, slender, trembling, and peel back a layer of her cheek. The sound was faint but real, the delicate tearing of flesh. Beneath, her face was not flesh at all, but a hollow of gray skin, veins like black threads, eyes that shone with a hungry blue fire. He watched her take from the floor a thin, translucent hide, a skin painted beautifully, detailed like art, and stretch it across her face. In an instant, she was May again, beautiful, perfect, human. Wang stumbled backward, his breath caught in his throat. He wanted to scream, but fear pinned him silent. For the rest of the night, he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of something unseen watching from the dark. In the morning, she smiled at him as if nothing had changed. "You look tired," she said softly, her painted lips curling. "You should rest more." He nodded, unable to speak, because when she smiled, the edges of her mouth didn't quite move like a human's. They seemed painted too. Days passed, and the house grew colder. Wang's color faded. His servants left one by one, muttering about strange noises, about a shadow that didn't follow the light. And still, he said nothing. Love, or something darker, kept him bound to her. He began to forget prayers, to forget hunger, even to forget himself. The only thing he could not forget was her face, and the fear that beneath it, something waited. Finally, when his sleep was filled with visions of hands painting skin with blood, he went to the old Taoist hermit who lived in the northern mountains. The hermit was a gaunt man with eyes that seemed older than the world itself. He listened without interruption, then said in a voice as dry as bone, "What you have brought into your home is not woman, but spirit. She feeds on what makes you human. Leave her, or she will wear your soul next." Terrified, Wang returned home at dusk. The house was silent, candles unlit. He entered her chamber and froze. On the table lay a piece of skin, thin, pale, painted with delicate strokes, eyes half closed as if asleep. May stood beside it, naked and wrong, her body a shifting shade of blue-green, like mold growing on meat. She turned to him slowly, her voice echoing without sound. "Why do you look at me like that, my love? You wanted truth, and now you see it." She smiled, and beneath the illusion, her teeth were long and black, her tongue flickering like a serpent's. Wang tried to run, but she moved faster, wrapping him in her cold arms. "Don't leave," she whispered. "You said you loved me. So, love me for what I am." Before he could scream, her hand slipped into his chest as though flesh were water. His eyes went wide. She pulled out his heart, still beating, and placed it gently in a porcelain bowl beside her bed. His body fell lifeless, yet his eyes stayed open, staring at the ceiling as though unwilling to blink. But fate is cruel and rarely final. The Taoist hermit returned at dawn, sensing the evil still thick in the air. He found the house empty, except for the sound of someone singing, a soft, melodic hum. He followed it into the bedroom, and there she was, May, her face restored, painting a new layer of skin over her arm using a brush dipped in what looked like blood. She didn't turn when he entered. "He wanted to see who I was," she said quietly. "Now he sees from within." When she finally looked at him, the charm around his neck glowed white, and her smile shattered into a snarl. She lunged, but he held up a mirror, an iron mirror, polished to reflect not light, but truth. When her reflection met her eyes, her painted skin began to melt like wax, sliding off in ribbons. Beneath, her true face appeared, the shape of rot, eyes hollow, a mouth filled with whispering shadows. She screamed, the sound shaking the walls, and her body dissolved into black smoke that seeped into the cracks of the floor. When silence fell again, the only thing left behind was a single painted skin, curled like a dried leaf, and the porcelain bowl that held a heart no longer beating. The hermit retrieved it, placed it back into Wang's chest, and sealed it with a spell of jade and breath. The scholar awoke hours later, weak and shivering. He tried to speak, but his voice cracked like dry parchment. "Where is she?" he asked. The hermit said nothing, only pointed to the ashes by the window. But that night, when the hermit left, Wang sat alone in the dark, and from the corner of the room, he smelled the faint, sweet scent of lotus once more. A voice whispered in his ear, soft and trembling, "You still love me, don't you?" When he turned, there was no one there, only the mirror reflecting a pale figure standing behind him, smiling without a face. Years passed, but Wang was never the same. They say he never married again. His hair turned white before he turned 40. Some nights his neighbors heard him shouting, crying out for her to leave him be, but she never did. Because once a demon wears your skin in her heart, you belong to her, even in dreams. Even now, in quiet towns and dimly lit houses, people whisper that the painted ones still walk among us. They say that beauty too flawless to be human often isn't. That sometimes, under neon lights or phone cameras, a face flickers for just a moment, revealing veins where there should be color, shadows where there should be light. They say the demons have changed with the times, but their hunger hasn't. They still crave life, warmth, love, yours. So if someone ever gazes at you too deeply, too intently, and their smile never reaches their eyes, look closer. Maybe, just maybe, you'll see the pain. Did you feel that? The cold breath on your neck? She's close now. Stories like this never end. They just move to the next screen, the next heartbeat, the next fool who forgets to click. So do it. Like, share, and subscribe before she finds you. Because once she crawls out of the dark, there's no turning off what's already watching you. Go on, press it, or she'll press you from the inside.